What went wrong to you today?
Go ask the coaching staff.
Do you feel like, there was anything you could do differently, I guess?
You go ask them. They had a whole spiel in here, so.
From the outside, and the outside may be wrong, but from the outside, it didn't look like you had your usual energy tonight.
Go ask the coaching staff why.
Okay.
You feel like you should play more?
Go ask the coaching staff. Should I play more or not?
What had been done?
Else?
What could have been done different to get a different outcome, other than asking the coaching staff?
According to them, probably don't play me. Honestly, that's what basically the message was after. So it's cool.
The coaching staff message was
It's
that?
cool, bro.
We good? You didn't have anything physically wrong in terms of illness or anything?
Oh, no,
You
I'm
were
good.
under the
I'm
weather.
fine.
Okay.
I'm fine.
All right.
Thanks, John.
Thanks.
After those comments, John Morant was suspended for one game, only for one game, after he made those comments in that Friday's loss against the Lakers, which people would see as unforgivable because LeBron was out, and the Lakers just are considered a subpar team, even though it's pretty early, just because of what they have. But most people will say that Ja's suspension is not a big deal. But I think it could be the straw um, that made the camel fat, and that's just being PETA friendly. I don't usually say the camel's back, but he's had issues with the team and vice versa over the past, since his tenure in Memphis, from mostly off the court things, like the cases and things that he's alleged to been involved in. He's been suspended 25 games by the league. He's been suspended a couple of times by the league for off the court activities and off the court things as far as the weapons and things like that go. So it's been tumultuous to say the least. And most people are placing blame on the coaching staff. He's placing blame on the coaching staff and the organization ultimately because of what he's saying in that clip. He's basically saying, ask the coaches, because I have nothing to do with this. Basically taking ownership off of himself, saying that, they saying that I'm not playing well. So talk to them about what they think, because that's what he's going to. And I don't think he would have did this with Coach, Jenkins from last year, and they fired Coach Jenkins, and then they also traded Desmond Bain. So I think a lot of pieces around him, they're making moves without his input, which usually star players in the NBA for sure, they get input from them and say, hey, we're thinking about making this move. What are your thoughts? And I don't think he would have agreed to trade Desmond Bain or agreed to fire Coach Jenkins, but they've made these moves anyway. So I'm pretty sure he's feeling like he's not important to them, that he's just a player and just a dollar amount. And he was drafted by this team as well, but just like his contemporary that was at Duke, that's at New Orleans now, Zion Williamson, they both ended up in places they didn't necessarily want to be. They ended up in smaller markets. They ended up in markets that they really wasn't familiar with. We know Zion didn't want to be in New Orleans. He wanted to be in New York. I'm pretty sure John wanted to be in New York as well, bigger markets. They still made a lot of money, but them being in New York or LA, they could have made an exorbitant amount of money. Would have been in a better position to win, I believe, especially if they went to LA like with the Lakers. Um, and then they're big time Nike athletes as well. Well, Ja is, and then Zion is Team Jordan. But they found themselves in peculiar situations in smaller markets. Now, Ja, for example, is in one of the most crime-ridden cities in America. Then with the persona that he's letting off, made it even worse in that environment. So it probably would be better for Ja to get a change of scenery. It'll also be better um, for him, I think, long term, just logistically, because his trade value, I believe, is still high. He's still young. He's still in his prime, so to speak, or maybe not even gotten to his prime yet because he's missed so many games due to these suspensions and off the court um, incidences that he's been through, and his past transgressions. Just, I think he still has a little bit more time than his years show. But what in the event that the Memphis Grizzlies do trade him, where is the best fit for Ja Morant. Now, there's only a couple places because I was thinking about what if they paired him with Anthony Edwards? How would that go? But with both those guys off the court transgressions and activities and incidents, I don't think that'll be a good idea. But they would be the most athletic backcourt in NBA history if they were to pair together. But it could be a PR nightmare off the court. And probably the press conferences now, both of these guys pretty much say what they want. It's just the new age of the game. But I don't think that, Ja Morant going to the Timberwolves would be a good move because, for one, the Timberwolves would have to trade so many pieces to get Ja Morant. And by the time Ja Morant gets there, it's going to be they pretty much want to have a bench. They would have maybe 3 people on the bench and, people that never played. They wouldn't have a team for the most part. And you would have to involve too many other teams that's not necessarily involved with them. Then I started thinking about Ja Morant in San Antonio with Victor Wembanyama. I don't think that would be good because of the structure. It's the same thing with the Grizzlies. You would have to trade too many players and key pieces that you really wouldn't have a team. And then plus, San Antonio is another smaller market. There's a lot of Greg Popovich there, so a lot of the stuff that Ja does is not going to be accepted. It's going to be tumultuous, especially for a quiet player like Kawhi Leonard to go there and not work out. I don't think it really will work out for a player like Ja Morant. I think the Clippers would be a good deal or a good place for him to go, just because they're a big market team. They have a new arena that they have to fill seats in, and Ja can definitely do that. And they have a lot of aging and players on the downside of their careers. So you have a player like Bradley Beal that's on the Clippers that is pretty much on a prove-it deal after that debacle in Phoenix. So most people believe he's declining to some degree because he doesn't give the same production. But it's kind of unfair with with Devin Booker and Kevin Durant there. So it was only so many shots he can get. But he just looked like he was struggling. Then, of course, you got Chris Paul that's in like his 20th or 21st season. So he's on his way out. Kawhi Leonard is perpetually injured and seems to be on his end of his tenure in LA. And then Batum is almost 40. And then you got Harden almost getting to his 40s. So you have a lot of aging players, and you're going to have to restock the cupboard, so to speak. And I think Ja Morant is a player that could do that because of his youth, his excitement he can bring to the game, a high flyer, similar to what they had in Blake Griffin, but a more talented Blake Griffin, I believe. He can shoot the three a little bit. He can, get to the basket. He can get some steals. He can bring excitement, and he's a great passer as well. He was more known for a passer in college than maybe even shooting so much. So a player like Ja Morant will be pretty much a godsend for the Clippers because of what their situation is right now, to be able to fill the seats in the arena, to replace that superstar in Kawhi Leonard and the pieces that they used to have back in the day when they had, Blake Griffin and DeAndre Jordan and Chris Paul. Ja Morant, you can build around him and be able to get different pieces, especially if they don't do well this year and get a high draft pick. You can trade Kawhi Leonard and package him with a bunch of other players. I'm not sure if he has a no trade clause or not, but you can trade him and be able to get more pieces around it. So I think the Clippers is the best fit for Ja if he leaves. So that's where I am on that one. So as always, until next time, see you next time.